infrared and thermal imaging cameras.
Right in this area.
Many people don't know that Native Americans used to live here on the land on which our school resides. We had the fortunate chance of having one come into our class and not only lecture us, but a chance to interview him too. His name is Louis Gusac, and he told us about the Kumeyaay natives and the history of their land.
The Spanish priests left good notes of their time here, and what they saw and what they observed and what they experienced. So those are the recordings that help verify our Aboriginal territory, which I shared with you all regarding the Aboriginal territory of the Kumeyaay people.
It's known that when Cabrillo first sailed into the San Diego Bay, his ships were greeted with an onslaught of arrows fired from the bows of the ancient people. The land where the Naval Training Center was built on was once a marsh, also known as a wetland. The Navy filled this land in to build NTC Promenade and was given the land by the U.S. government, even though everyone knew the land used to belong to the Native American group, the Kumeyaay. For centuries, the Kumeyaay had lived in this area. However, they were treated horrible by white settlers who moved to La Playa, the second settlement of San Diego, behind Old Town for whaling trade.
Since we weren't citizens of the United States, we didn't have control of any lands by title. So their presumption was that when they were here, it's their land, and we were there and we were in their way of progress. So they took whatever means necessary to remove the obstacle, which meant, killing, slaughtering, starving out, whatever they needed to do. The American in 1853 in California passed a law that afforded for the killing of men, women, and children, and bounty was paid for the killing of men, women, and children if they were considered to be hostile Indians.
The native people were forced on a 3-day trail of tears to reservations in East County, San Diego. The Kumeyaay and other native tribes finally had places in which they were allowed to live peacefully, but these lands were upon rocky mountains and tucked in desert valleys, where living conditions were very harsh. There are still Kumeyaay natives today, but much less.
Approximately 70,000 is the number that was given to me, but by the time 1900, there was only 3,000.
Louis and his fellow partners fought very hard to get their land back, but were unsuccessful even though they offered $500 million, more than any other developer, to purchase Liberty Station. So our ghost here at HTHI International, Ancient Kumeyaay, was the recording of a person speaking in a language we couldn't understand in the UN theater, speaking in the Kumeyaay language. Are their spirits unable to rest because this ancient land has not been returned to them? Or are they trapped here, forced to relive their horrendous deaths at the hands of the white settlers? These are the questions we are trying to find answers to.